how I ended up in a $1.5 million debt. Now, why would anyone make a video about how they ended up in debt? Why would anyone listen to a video like that? I mean, most people, they would listen or do videos around how they manifested a lot of money, right? Well, the fact is that I ended up in this situation with $1.5 million debt. And also from that situation, I learned a lot. I did end up manifesting a company with 60 people. I ended up selling the company. I ended up financial free with a lot of money on my bank account. But the fact is that what started all of this was the $1.5 million debt. I learned some very deep rooted truth from that experience. And maybe you can relate to, or you know someone who knows how it feels like not having enough money, working very hard to earn money, or money comes in and money is gone again fast. Maybe you heard stories about people who win in the lottery, or people who get an extra salary or a bonus or something, but they end up in the same place. Or maybe you know people who just never seems to be able to grow anything. They always end up by the end of the month with the feeling of, how can I pay my next bills? Even as business owners, I've helped so many clients who had businesses for so many years. And on the outside, looking from the outside, they did very good. But fact was that they had problems paying the bills, and also the fact was how they felt about it. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you in this video. Now, from my $1.5 million debt, what I do know is I don't like to be in a situation that I was in at the time. It was really not nice. I hated it. I was frustrated. I was stressed. I didn't do good to myself. I didn't eat well. I drank too much alcohol. I did too much partying. And I felt really bad inside. I was in a bad shape. I was really desperate. And at the same time, I was full of shame, and I could not speak with people about it. So how did I end up in that situation? What are the learnings that I wanted to share with you? First of all, the quick story is that I got a great management job in a startup company, a coffee shop company here in Denmark, in the capital, Copenhagen, in 2000. And after living in one place and taking the train every day for 1 hour each way on long working days, I decided to sell the first apartment or property that I ever owned, sell that, and then move into the center, so I didn't have so long to travel to work. And when I did sell that, I also experienced for the first time in my life that I actually got some money. And those money, I could use them to pay off different loans that I had. Loans from the studies, loans from different, just loans. Some loans here, some loans there, some loans there. And it's kind of like I've lived with those loans for so long. I sold the apartment, paid off the loans. That feeling was extremely nice. Extremely nice. If you know the feeling of having loans and needing to pay every month, don't like the bills and all of this, then maybe imagine, if you can, a situation where you can just wipe out all of those loans in one, and you're clean slate. On top of that, I had a little bit extra money, and I found an area here in Copenhagen that was pretty close to where the office was, but also was just out of the centrum. And I was like, this is going to be a very popular area, so the prices will grow. So I bought an apartment. Just after 6 months, I saw that, okay, the prices were growing and a lot of things happened in the area, and a vision came clear for me. I wanted to find the money to buy the next one. I did. I rented it out find the money to buy the next one. And that vision inside of me was that I wanted like an empire of properties, and I was renting them out, and I could help people live great and enjoy, and just systemizing it all. And I did. So I ended up with 20 apartments in less than 8 years. I was young, had a lot of energy. My vision was clear, and I found a way to speak with the banks. They were a lot easier at that time to help me with the money. The prices were rising. I had a lot of money in the apartments, like net worth. All was good. Now, what happened was that I became greedy. So people were beginning to see that I had more money. Some of my friends at the time, they invited me to friends who knew something about stocks or different business adventures. And I kind of was like, wow, this is cool. So I was just like, again, I was young. I invested in the new adventure or that stock that should rise, I don't know how many %. But to do that, I borrowed money from the apartments. And it was like I was just going very fast. I was in the fast lane. I was young. Everything was just booming for me. More money, more money, more money. Then in 2008, the financial crisis came. And maybe you heard about it, maybe you experienced it. For me, what happened was that interest rates went up, up, up. I had a normal job. I had borrowed a lot of money in the apartments. So I didn't have a lot of money left in the apartments. And the banks came and said, well, Michael, you have to pay interest rates. I said, how? I cannot pay that much more. I only have a normal job. And suddenly the whole thing turned around. Now I was in a situation like I was back then before I sold the first apartment, with loans, just much bigger loans, not being able to pay them, much bigger loans. So we speak a lot of money here. I got the banks after me, and I began to be stressed around this because I didn't have the clarity how I should or could get out of this situation. So what happened for me at the time was that I began to stress. My mind began running around. How can I do this? It's not going to work, and things like that. I didn't take good care of myself. I didn't eat well anymore. I worked a lot. I thought that I could work myself out of this. And also I skipped the gym and I partied more. I drank some more alcohol and somehow tried to escape the situation with the $1.5 million debt that I ended up with. The thing is that I did manifest the opposite. So I ended up with a business, 60 people. I sold that. I became financially free. But at the time when all of this happened, I was in such a bad shape that I was ready to just run away from it all because I was full of shame. An image of me was that I was successful. I had a great job. I had all of these properties and I had a lot of investments. I was on the high road. I was just really doing good. But the fact was that it wasn't like that at all. And I was so ashamed around this. So I didn't know. I couldn't figure out. I hadn't got the guts. I was not brave enough to speak with people around my problem. And I had this ongoing problem with the banks. What are the learnings? What is it that happened for me? Now, the thing that I'm going to share with you now is that what I learned and what I helped a lot of people with after was that this was something that I manifested. I manifested the $1.5 million debt. Why would anybody manifest that? Well, I didn't want to manifest that up here. Up here, I wanted to create my empire. Up here, I wanted to be successful and all of that. But down here, deep rooted in me, was some beliefs. Some beliefs that I was not to be successful. Some beliefs that I didn't deserve success. Some beliefs that I couldn't handle success. Some beliefs that I was not good enough. And how do I know that? I know that because I worked it out later. I began to look inside and say, okay, something is not right here. I work a lot. I struggle a lot. I do all the hard things, but it's not working out for me. One of my first mentors talked about what's going on in the mind between our 2 ears, and I began to look inside. I had help. I did get help with this, mentors and coaches, and went on seminars all around the world because I really wanted to solve this. What I learned was that I had those deep-rooted beliefs, childhood belief from the early childhood. I had beliefs around not being good enough. And I also had some money beliefs that was installed inside of me in a very early age. And I did the exercise, and I've helped clients with the exercise to figure out what is it that's going on in the inside. And how do I know that I had these beliefs? Because when I built my empire, when I worked and I was like on the high road, still, when I look back, I had a whisper inside or a feeling inside that something was not right, that I would lose it all, that I would end up in a situation where I got bankruptcy because I didn't deserve it. And I felt that, but it was something that I tried to just suppress. And I just worked from up here, and I said, okay, I gotta work harder, I gotta work smarter, all of these things. And that was the end result. No matter how hard I worked, no matter how much work I put in it, I still ended up in that situation. Then people say to me, well, Michael, it's not your fault the financial crisis was there. A lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost their money, and it just got wiped out. So don't think it's on you. How can you say you manifested that situation? Well, because fact is also in those years, a lot of people made a lot of money. A lot of people also made a lot of money. When I was desperate, when I was stressed, when I was frustrated, and maybe you know what I'm speaking about here, do you think that I took good decisions? No. Do you think that I was calm and sat down and just like felt myself and thought it through and got a coach and thought, okay, is this the right thing or not? No. I was running and I was desperate and I was punched from left and right, and I just fought. I just thought I could fight myself out of the troubles. But the deep-rooted beliefs, fears, won. Because what I feared the most was ending up in the bankruptcy. What I feared the most was that I wasn't successful, that I wasn't good enough, that nobody wanted me if I had all of these things. I know this is quite strong but it's the truth. And it's also very important for us to understand that if we have this inside of us, if we don't look at it, if we don't face it, if we try to with the conscious mind, with hard work, if we try to get out of the situation without looking inside, well, probably we're gonna end maybe even worse. That's what happened for me. So that's how I ended up manifesting a $1.5 million debt. Deep-rooted beliefs, deep-rooted fears inside of me. On the other hand, when I did manifest a business with 60 people, how could I do that? Well, as I said, I went inside. I looked at I had help to this. I went to seminars and I had coaches to help me. I looked at my own beliefs. I looked at my thoughts. I investigated my feelings, and I looked at my own beliefs. What are my beliefs around money? What are my beliefs around success? What are my beliefs around me being good enough? I shifted those beliefs. I changed those beliefs. I let go of the fear, and it got deeper, and I looked into different levels of this. That was what I did, and then took the action to pay off the debt, to sell the properties, and ended up in a situation with abundance. Just from doing the work in the outside world, my experience was that I ended up in the situation, in the reality of my fears, of losing it all, of being an imposter, of not being the guy that I showed everybody I was. I ended up in that situation. And by going in the inside and looking at the beliefs and shifting, letting go, look them in the eyes, the fears in the eyes, and all of these things, I am taking a lot of action. I ended up in the situation where I could pay off the debt. That was my learnings, and I wanted to share this, and I'm going to dive even deeper into this. I'm also going to share some different techniques that I used and that I helped my clients with, because I know how it feels to be in a situation where money is a problem. I really know how it feels. I prefer myself, I don't know about you, but if you listen to this right now, probably you are like me. I prefer success. I prefer when things works out. I prefer having enough money. I prefer that when I go to shop in the supermarket or whatever, I don't have to think about if I take this or this. I prefer if I'm going to fill up the tank, I don't think about it. I just fill up the tank, because I also was in a situation where I didn't have money to fill up the tank. If you are anything like me and you know this and you want to manifest the abundance instead, so I can really just say from my own experience and from the people that I've helped with this, go inside. Go inside. Begin to look inside. Begin to look thoughts, feelings, and from there begin to go even deeper and figure out what are the beliefs. And then the mindset shift will with beginning to shift the mindset, the experience in the outside world can shift pretty fast too. I grew my company from 0 to 60 people in less than 4 years. Didn't come by sitting down and meditating. I took a lot of action, but that's pretty fast. And it wasn't an IT company, it was a cleaning company. So it was a lot of meetings with customers and doing all the right stuff and all these things, but it happened fast. So it can shift pretty fast. When I shifted inside, my outside world shifted. I've seen it with clients, with businesses. When they shifted the inside, their results in their business and in their lives shifted pretty fast. So that's my message in this video, and I look forward to share even more of these things. And I would really like, if you like this video just a little bit, please give it a like. It's a new channel. I will give a lot of from my experience and what worked for me and what didn't work also. I will be honest around this with you. So if you want to be part of this community, I know it's all new. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and also hit that bell, because when you hit that bell, you'll get notifications. If you feel for it, please say hi in the comments. I would love to see you, and also love to hear a little bit about your situation if you feel for that too. And I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love.